Yo, it's DJTiki, and we're back. I told you that it was probably going to take a week for this Q&A session, but it actually took way longer than that. So what you're going to notice as the Q&A is going on is that I sent specific questions to specific team members on the team. You'll see an indicator on the bottom left somewhere that tells you who is answering the question and what their role is on the team. Regardless of the fact, obviously I did not have every 40 odd something team members answer your questions. So I gave questions that were specifically tailored to specific team members. Now, there were a lot of general questions like, who is your favorite this? What is your least favorite? What is your most favorite this? And for those questions, if they weren't addressed to a specific person, we are actually going to get to that later in a part 2 of this video. So if you see your question scratched out, don't feel bad. That's just us saying that we're getting to it later. For the first time and the first time only, we tried to address nearly all the questions for about when we posted it. So we got about 52 comments to answer. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. So let's get started. For DJTiki by DeadSoul24, what are your favorite and do not like episode of Battle Royale? I'm thinking that you're trying to say what is my favorite and least favorite Battle Royale, and I think that's pretty easy. My favorite episode so far would probably have to be Cammy versus Nina. A lot of passion and hard work went into Cammy versus Nina, and it's something that has been worked on for like a few years, like 3, with like multiple setbacks and hiatuses, dropped versions of the project. It eventually all came together, and it's really special to me. As far as my least favorite, I won't say there's a episode that I don't like I hate. There's obviously episodes that I think one's better than the other, but as far as my least favorite, I would probably have to say Sub-Zero versus Cool Diamond. And that's not even in I wish we would have wrote it better, or I wish we would have done this. Everything was kind of coming together, but a lot of the episode was completely rushed. Many things about the episode was supposed to be extrapolated on, or made better, but we had to sort of pump it out in preservation for time and the deadline, which is partially why we don't do deadlines anymore, or at least deadlines for YouTube submissions. So other than that, I know a lot of people give a shit for Sub-Zero versus Cool Diamond, especially that line where it's like, oh my god, we're laughing at Mortal Kombat, even though we're not really laughing at Mortal Kombat. Half the team actually likes the series, including myself. But I just really wish we could have done more with that episode, because god, the night before, it was just me, Garrett, and Brandon literally just working non-stop on the episode to try to get it out. So yeah, that would be my big 2.
For Ray Nuñez, hey, that's me. Is there going to be any other shows in Crossover X? The intent with Crossover X was to always create more shows beyond just Battle Royale and versus content in general, but due to things happening with the team over the past couple of years since the rebrand, our initial plans for those didn't quite pan out as we hoped it would. That said, we still have ideas and intentions to bring more shows to the channel down the pipeline. We're even working on some right now that I can't reveal just yet. That said, stay tuned, and of course, if you guys want to see more from the channel beyond Battle Royale, please check out our Patreon and become a patron, or donate to us via the PayPal link below so that together we can support our future goals for the channel. We'd love to do stuff like this for free, but unfortunately it doesn't come cheap. I know this answer is becoming an ad for the Patreon, but I honest to god can't stress how integral our earnings and donations are to Crossover X. 100% of all money earned go towards paying our wonderful talent and for assets we use in our programming. So please, if you would like to see us continue running this channel and produce more interesting content for you guys, consider donating or becoming a patron. Even $1 a month can go a long way, and the more people donate, the more helpful it'll be for us going forward, and the more likely you'll see regular content from us instead of multiple month-long gaps. Thanks, and we love you.
Is there anyone that will date Revo because she doesn't wear any pants? Okay, Revo is the goddess of crossover, the master of the multiverses, the above overlord of Crossover X. And And she's pretty cute too. I'm pretty sure people would love to date Revo. But that aside, I think it's the person on the inside that counts, and not the pants on the outside. Or the lack thereof on a regular basis. Besides, she doesn't wear not pants all the time. She'd get reported. It's indecent exposure. You can't do that at work. But jokes aside, Revo's pretty cool. So I think if you want to date her, aside from her already being married to her work and her video games, not being very social, spending all of her time with her chameleon. Yeah, if you get past all of those obstacles, I think you have a fine chance at dating Revo, and I think it would be a very rewarding experience. Thanks for the question.
Frozzy Animations asks, who are all of your favorite Pokemon, and if you had to use one to take down Goku, who would you choose? Now, my favorites are Alolan Vulpix and Tyranitar, but those aren't the two I use to take down Goku, nor do I think they'd get the job done. Probably just use, Darkrai, and then have him give Goku nightmares about not having any food or starving to death. I think that should work. Huan's final question, for God's sakes, has anyone found Biffweed's wife yet? She's in Yoyo Land, which is 2,763 miles away.
What do you think is better, Sonic the Hedgehog or Ruby Rose? And would you do a Battle Royale episode of this? Just asking. So the answer is yes, we're doing a Battle Royale episode, and it's going to be a Manny-filled episode. I'm going to be voicing Manny, Sonic, Ruby, everybody.
The man PF asks, are we human? Or are we dancer? My sign is vital. My hands are cold. Good song taste. Yeah.
Sleepy Dragon Sushi asks, number 1, basic question, how's life? Life is fucking stressful, Sleepy. Life is stressful. Number 2, advanced question. Before Premiere, what was the editing program the editors used? Can't answer this because y'all start with Premiere or something similar, and just move on to question 3. We actually did not start with Premiere Pro. When I did not start off as an editor for Battle Royale, Adam did most of the editing, and I believe he used Sony Vegas Pro 12? Or Sony Vegas something 12. I don't think it was the professional version, but I think it was like a smaller version of Sony Vegas. That was what we used. And then when I started editing, I used Filmora actually, because I used that for a school project, and then I moved up and I was like, let me use this for Battle Royale. And I just started using Filmora, then I moved to Sony Vegas, and then I moved to Premiere Pro. So that's basically the answer. Now everyone uses Sony Vegas, and me and Ray are the only one that uses Premiere Pro. So it's all over the place. 3, joke question. How high are y'all on the norm? Dude, I can't smoke. I think you already know this, but I don't smoke. I can't smoke. I will kill myself if I smoke. But I'm pretty sure Percy's pretty high right now. Hey Percy, you high? Alright.
From IceAssassin25, are any of you looking forward to Timesplitters Rewind? I've personally never played a Timesplitters game. I've heard good things about some of this game's predecessors, but my lack of experience with the series makes it unlikely for me to check out its latest installment. I'd want to play the previous games first, personally. What is the worst versus battle you have ever heard of? I've come across matchups on occasion where I don't get the connections, but I don't really think there's a worst versus matchup. As long as you can have fun with it, and can bring something fun to watch to the table, I'd say go for it. Do you prefer lesser known battles to battles that have been overdone? I almost always prefer less discussed matchups. It makes the match stand out more, and you can often discover things about characters who get a lot less love in the versus community. In particular, I'd say cartoons and live action media are particularly underrepresented in versus. Not to mention, doing a differing matchup to other series makes it a lot less likely for you to repeat similar beats of other series, and thus decreases the chance of being repetitive.
Will you keep the format? Will you keep the same cast? Will you add any new cast members? Yes, yes, and yes.
Capone Ardeline? I hope I didn't butcher that. Question for DJ, why are you playing Nier while talking about the Q&A? It's mainly because I really like Nier Automata. I've been playing that a lot recently, and it's become one of my favorite games of all time. One of our animators, Garrett, kind of convinced me to buy it alongside our musician, PF. And from there, I kind of just stopped playing it. I'm not sure what to tell you. There is no deep reason why I'm playing the game besides the fact that I like it. I don't know what to tell you, dude, if you're trying to read between the lines. Sorry.
Hello, it's me, Taco. Heh heh heh. Anyways, I have this first question here. Out of the combatants that have been on this channel so far, which would you like to fight? Well, I don't think I could throw down with any of them, but being well, for all you know, I am a duck, or just Rick Rocker, but you know what? My answer is gonna be, I would fight Cammy, or Samus, and I would intend to lose. Make of that what you will. Question for those who crave battle. Which would you rather fight? A 9-foot-tall praying mantis, or a full-grown male brown bear? I mean, mantises... I mean, we already know what a brown bear would be like in real life, but we don't know if the praying mantis will be stable, pulled up to that size. Are we just, like, assuming, like, some rule, like, okay, it just stays as a praying mantis proportionally and it can function and all that shit? I still feel like, does that make it, like, more durable, or is it like, because bugs are relatively easier to squish, even if they were 9 foot tall, I feel like it would be slightly easier to harm, but then again, aren't praying mantises some of the harder bugs to squash, or whatever? There's so much uncertainty with the praying mantis that I might, at this size, that I might go with the bear, because we actually know what that's like. I mean, I don't like my chances much either way, but at least there are some tactics that can be taught to deal with a brown bear, and not like a praying mantis that is suddenly 9 feet tall. Okay, there you go.
How many of you remember I exist? Nemesis, buddy, don't be so harsh on yourself, man. Everyone who's been on the team since Mewtwo vs. Black War Greymon still knows who you are. We always tune in for your BR episode reviews every time they come out, and we appreciate the critiques you give in each, as they're well thought out and help us improve the show further little by little. You've never left our thoughts, man. We love and appreciate you, and thanks for being a friend and fan of the channel.
Hello. This is Chain Fighter, voice of Chelsea and Destroy Your World. Let's see. How do you feel about people calling Chelsea annoying? Well, I have two cases for this one. Either Chelsea's voice is annoying, or Chelsea's attitude is annoying. As for Chelsea's attitude, some people aren't exactly used to people being so sassy, and Chelsea has a personality of, I'm right, and you're stupid if you don't think so. So it can be a bit grating to some people when they're not used to it, or when they're not used to her sense of humor. She means well, she's got a lot of bravado and confidence. That's the type of character she is. She doesn't take crap from anyone. So it can be a bit odd for her to just say how she feels, and then just say it so bluntly and or rudely. And then you gotta figure out that she is talking to Manny and Rick, people she's known for years. So she's comfortable talking any type of way to them. And facts is a robot, so facts is facts. As for if Chelsea's voice is annoying, that's an error on my part, so I'm terribly sorry. And I will do what I can to fix it. I am still a bit of an amateur voice actress, so it's a learning process. So I thank you for your time and appreciation, and I will do my best. Why is there a made-up reason why Rick's voice has changed, but not Manny's voice? Well, I will tell you industry secret. Manny, his voice actor didn't change. He was abducted by aliens, and when they were experimenting on him, they switched voice boxes with someone else. So technically, Rick's voice actor only changed, and Manny's never did. Don't at me. Signing off.
Anthony Lasai asks, when will we see a 3D fight? For example, Sly Cooper versus Rouge the Bat. You can plan on seeing 3D fights in the future, and I think I can safely say that we will be able to push out our first one starting sometime next year. Hellfire Productions asks, animation team, for episodes like Cammy vs. Nina, what softwares do you use to animate with? Most of our episodes consist of 3 major programs, all of which are from the Adobe suite. We got Animate, we got After Effects, and we got Premiere Pro. Animate is used purely for the animation. Roughly 70-ish% of our fights are done purely using just this program from start to finish. Then we have Adobe After Effects, which we use for a lot of different things. Visual effects, trailers, intros, outros, post-production, and when we want to make our episodes the best it could possibly be when it's something really special, we also use it in the animation process alongside Animate, like we did with Cammy vs. Nina. The program can just do a lot. Finally, we have Premiere Pro, which we use for editing, some sound design, and some minor motion graphic effects that tie the episode in a nice, neat bow. To say some work is involved doesn't do the episode's justice.
What would be the most effective way to keep research notes on characters? For that, you'll probably want to do what a lot of bios do, put things like background, abilities, feats, and whatever into separate sections. But I would also link the source. A lot of people who make these notes, you'll find, don't link the sources and just put powers and feats without any context. So use sites like Imager or whatever you can get your hands on to show whatever you need to. Other than that, I think it's fine however you put your own spin on it. Just make sure it's clear and neat to you or whoever is reading it.
Hassan the Mighty asks, will there ever be a 3D battle? As I stated a couple questions ago, yes, we will be doing 3D fights in the future. It's taken us some time to get to the point where we can even start doing 3D in the first place, as it's not as simple as just opening up Maya or Cinema 4D and just doing the thing. As a matter of fact, this probably wouldn't even be possible without your guys' support. I don't think you guys realize just how much you guys mean to us and what you guys do for us. We really appreciate it. I'd suggest you stay tuned, because we have plans, baby.
Maniac's Revenge asks, what fight do you want to do but can't, and what character do you want to use but can't? So, I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone here, as one of my most wanted versus fights in general is absolutely Agent 47 versus Golgo 13, a battle between one of gaming's greatest assassins and anime's greatest assassin. 13 has been a character I've been fascinated in seeing in versus, but sadly from what I've seen, the character lacks any good resources at the moment. Maybe someday this fight will happen, whether someone makes a nice sprite sheet or a Mugen character of Golgo 13 that isn't just a crosshair which kills you in one shot. Although that is pretty accurate to his character.
Alright, question from Foxshot. If you guys in Marvel Civil War, which side are you on and why? Captain America or Iron Man? Question number 2. If you had Power Shazam, what would you do? For question number 1, I'm Team Iron Man all the way. Like, Tony cool and all, but he don't got nothing on Iron Man. Tony Stark a real one. Always. And as for question 2, whatever I want, because who's gonna stop me? Easy.
Abel Zarihan asked, will you only stream on Twitch from now on? More than likely, yes. Sure, YouTube is pretty lucrative, but besides YouTube premieres, I don't think we're going to stream on YouTube anymore. YouTube is pretty finicky, especially with copyrighted material, and when we do streams, we usually have like a playlist of music in the background, and if that gets catched by copyright, that's going to be such a pain to deal with. The only thing that sucks with Twitch is that if you're not partnered, then you don't get to keep your stream. You don't get to, if you don't download your streams, you lose them after 30 days, which really sucks. Thoughts on the Epic Game Stores? I used that shit once. I think it was for Fortnite because I was just curious, and I never touched that shit again. I think I deleted it off my computer. I'm pretty sure I deleted it off my computer. So that's about my long and short of the Epic Game Stores. I really don't care for any PC gaming online stores that isn't Steam. Steam is there. Why do you need anything else? Why are people trying to give me shit like Origin? God, I fucking hate Origin. But I digress. Who do you think will be in the next Super Smash Pass? Assuming that the next one is a Season 2 pass, I'm pretty sure as far as the next group of people will be, it'll probably be more Nintendo reps. Or, well, Sakurai said he wants to bring in more Will, so I'm gonna assume more third parties too. I can't really give you a guess. I don't really keep up with like the Smash scenes or the Smash leaks. I can say that I'm pretty sure Sora is pretty locked in at this point. He's been requested by literally every major competitive Smash player, really high on the rankings on literally everything. Sora is gonna be a lot, but the question is like, when? But other than that, like, I don't care. Put in Curly, and I'll be happy.
When Sam versus Courtney. Coming as soon as it's researched and paid for, bro. Also, didn't we say no match-related questions? Well, I forgot. Well, Honestly, let me leave that to you guys watching. Would you actually want to see Sam Puckett from iCarly versus Courtney from Total Drama? Legit question, I'm curious to know. We've joked about this idea for years, but if there's actual demand for it, we will eventually do it. Assuming CX goes on for that long. I don't know how we do a fight for it, but hey. Also, a heads up, please don't ask us when a certain episode will come out, otherwise your questions will not be answered. Swalot gets a pass here because he's on the team. Do you look for matchups that aren't likely to appear on other Versus shows? Kind of. I want to say yes and no. When we decide a list of matches that we would want to do for the following phase, we do have that mentality of, is this idea popular enough that Death Battle would want to do it? Are they even aware of this idea? That's not to say we would settle for less when it comes to ideas. We still try to go with cool matches that sound feasible on paper. For example, I feel like it was pretty obvious that they were going to do Crash vs Spyro. It was just a matter of when. It's not specifically why we went with Yoshi vs Spyro instead, but rather, we just thought it would be a dope episode to make. And it's admittedly a more unique match than just versus Crash because not too many people would really think to put them together, and yet it still ends up working. Now, that's not to say Death Battle is at all predictable. They're always surprising everybody with their lineup. We've even had to cancel some planned episodes because Death Battle, to our surprise, beat us to our own ideas, either similar in concept or one for one what we were going for. Granted, however, times have changed and we're a bit more lenient now on what matches we would want to do on the show, so I'm not particularly worried if Death Battle or another show doesn't match before us or not. I think the whole, well, they did this idea first, so you guys are stealing or copying from them, you can't do this, or you're doing this out of spite mentality is bullshit. No one really owns the rights or has dibs on an idea that involves characters that they don't even actually own, and it ultimately limits the creativity or potential of what another person can do with the idea, assuming they're able to handle it in an acceptable way, of course. You don't see Death Battle caring about whether or not Cartoon Fight Club or Fatal Fiction or Fictional Fights or whatever versus show you want to use has done a certain match before they did. You're gonna do it anyway, so why should we be any different? We're still obviously gonna look for more cool or unique ideas, obviously, but really, who knows? Maybe one of these days you'll actually see us doing an episode Death Battle's already done. Not really because we want to quote-unquote fix whatever we had an issue with in their version of it, but because we want to see what we can do with the idea. Remember that ultimately Versus is subjective. There's never going to be a definitive answer to all these matches, but we can at least make an effort to do our best to deliver one along with a good presentation. And have fun while doing it. We can't please everybody, but we just hope a majority of you guys end up enjoying them.
SK47 Moxie asks, are there any fights earlier on in my career that I regret or second guess? And working on universes, one of them I regret is Tails vs. Coco. Because, you know, the Crash verse is actually pretty strong. They beat most Sonic characters in their base form. But of course, the Sonic characters get stronger once they transform and all that, but base form, Crash characters usually take it. But I couldn't find a way for Coco to scale to all that stuff that beats the Sonic characters in their base form. So Tails ended up winning, which he shouldn't have, because not only were there little things that I missed, like Coco kicking Cortex in the crystals and Crash to insanity, there was also the fact that 3 months later, the Insane Trilogy had come out, retconning the original games to where Coco actually went back in time and helped Crash on his adventures, therefore she now can scale and obliterate Tails. So yeah, just messing up a fight like that with one of my favorite video game characters, Coco, it stings. Question number 2. Would I use my past research on universes for research in Crossover X? There's actually a whole team dedicated to research in Crossover X that I'm not specifically part of, but I would chip in what I know if it's a fight or character I'm familiar with. And question number 3. What is the most requested matchup we've gotten for the show? I don't think there's a single matchup we can point out as the most requested, but we do get a ton involving Luigi or Virgil from Devil May Cry. People certainly like their number 2s and second bananas.
Proboscis asks, number 1. With Ruby Volume 7 around the corner, are you going to wait to do Leone vs. Yang until after Volume 7 is done to see if there's anything that could affect the outcome in any way? Versus battle. What I'm going to tell you to that is just versus battles are a product of time. There is never going to be a time where I'm like, oh, we have this versus battle done. I guess that's going to be the results for the entirety as long as we live. Sure, we'll look at Volume 7, see if there's anything that could like steer the writing in a different direction. But as far as we're concerned, when Volume 5 and 6 came around, we kind of had the same opinion about the matchup regardless. So I don't think anything is going to change with Volume 7 coming up. And no, that's not spoilers for the episode. Number 2, which Battle Royale episode is the most fun to work on? Most fun to work on. That's actually a really hard one. If I had to pinpoint one, it would probably be... I wasn't here for Yoshi vs. Spyro. So, funny enough, not Cammy vs. Nina, but Vampire Batman vs. Zombie Spider-Man. That was actually really fun to work on. Because doing something Halloween themed is not something that we get to do all the time. Obviously, it only happens once a year. And I also got to like insert a couple things and, you know, expand my skill set a bit. The whole section at the end with Revo and Fax, that was done entirely by me. Well, obviously, with the voice actors and actresses line, but all the sound design and stuff, I did that on my own. That was actually really fun to work with because I like working with sound mixing. And if you didn't know, I did all of the sound mixing in Cammy vs. Nina. That was fun too. 3, is there an episode you want to do, but because of lack of resources such as sprites, you can't? We're at a point where the lack of resources things isn't even a problem. If we want to do a matchup bad enough, we'll either commission the sprite sheet or we'll figure out a means to do it. Sure, it'll be an expensive undertaking, but there isn't an episode where we're like, oh, we really want to do this episode, but where are the resources? Sure, that informs us because whether or not they have resources dictates the budget for that episode. So obviously if they have resources, it's less money we gotta spend. But there's not gonna be an episode that we won't do. I hope that answers your question, dude.
Alright, so this handsome devil asks, what is Obama's last name? Well, let me tell you, Obama's last name is...
Oh wow, that's all the time we have for part 1. What was Mage gonna say there? I don't care. Anyways, we'll get to the rest of the questions for part 1 and the part 2 of the video, obviously. And we'll get to the general questions as well. As far as we're concerned, just for this episode only, don't post questions in the comment section below because we're not going to get to them. We'll see you guys in the next episode. And Jesus, this has been like 30 minutes worth of crap and we still have like another 20 or so minutes to go. So I hope you guys like this grand opening of the Q&A and we'll see you next time.